The embarrassment of soap vet Rich's General Hospital has on screen of late has been nothing short of a gift for longtime soap fans. This week, ABC longtime soap fans got to watch two of the network's most legendary daytime performers share powerful scenes together. And we were both tickled pink and blown away. Emmy winners Michael E. Knight and Erica Slezak thrilled us for years in Pine Valley and Longview, respectively. Now, they have made it to Port Charles as two new characters, earning this week's Soap Central honors as GH Performers of the Week. Both Slezak and Knight had us fooled when Ronnie first opened the Quartermaine front door to find Martin Gray standing before her. They barely acknowledged that they'd ever met, save for 2 brief minutes at the tea party the day before. In fact, they had several scenes at the front door before the truth came out. However, as soon as Ronnie got Marty into the living room and closed the double doors, their demeanors immediately changed when they knew nobody else was listening. Once Marty and Ronnie were alone, the truth came out. And so did Marty's dark side. We learned that Marty did indeed change Monica's will, but only after Ronnie had come to town and decided she hated Tracy. She really did just want to pay respects to her sister, but Marty sucked her in with a nefarious plan. Slezak showed us Ronnie's guilt and nerves as she expressed her regret for going along with Marty's harebrained scheme. Meanwhile, Knight brought out a new side of Marty. Rather than sticking with the bumbling schemer personality, we learned just how enraged Marty was when Tracy had him put behind bars in California earlier this year. He didn't care who suffered in order to get his revenge. After chastising Drew for threatening to have an old lady arrested, Marty went and did the same thing. Knight was a far cry from Tad the Cad as he growled at Ronnie and got in her face. Slezak portrayed Ronnie's shock and fear without having to say a word, while Marty grew more menacing. In just a few short minutes, Knight's Marty made Slezak's Ronnie a sympathetic character. During the episodes that followed, Slezak wore Ronnie's guilt on her face and sleeve, while Marty reverted right back to sidekick mode with Drew and bumbling big brother mode with Laura. But these two beloved and consummate performers gave us scenes we could only dream of during our years watching All My Children and One Life to Live. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video, the General Hospital scoop for Monday, November 3rd. Hints Tracy Quartermaine will arrive at the Quartermaine mansion with Monica Quartermaine's real will in hand. Also coming up, Sonny Corinthos will suggest another suspect to Alexis Davis. Plus, Drew Kane will put the pressure on Ronnie Bard, and will passion erupt between Curtis Ashford and Jordan Ashford. GH spoilers tease Sonny will pay Alexis a visit after his enlightening talk with Nina Reeves. His ex-wife told him that Portia Robinson had a motive to shoot Drew. On Monday, Sonny will spill this information to Alexis. I can point you towards another suspect, the mobster says to the lawyer in the GH sneak peek. One that isn't Michael. But will Alexis be interested? Meanwhile, Curtis will let Jordan know exactly how he feels about her. I want you, just you, he'll tell her. Jordan will look touched by Curtis's declaration. So, will the former couple end up sleeping together? Over with Ronnie, who will hesitate to sign the papers that would hand the Quartermaine estate over to Drew. You do this, the congressman will say, and you'll never have to deal with us ever again. Other GH spoilers tease Jen Sidwell will tell Laura Collins that everyone has their price, even her. Plus, Emma Scorpio will interrogate Britt Westbourne. Finally, Tracy was shocked to find Monica's actual last will and testament in a box at Lulu Spencer's place, so she now knows the other will is a fake. Buckle up, Ronnie, I'm coming for you, Tracy will say, as she races to the mansion to reveal her fraud. But will Tracy arrive before Ronnie signs the estate over? And how will Drew and Martin Gray react when she shows them Monica's true will? Keep watching GH to find out. At any rate, it looks like a great episode is coming up. Keep reading the Soap Scoop for more General Hospital spoilers and news. And make sure you join our free GH Facebook group. Here's your General Hospital spoilers sneak peek at some of the action that will take place in Port Charles the week of November the 3rd to 7th, 2025. Be sure to tune in to ABC each weekday to see how it all plays out. Tracy has the upper hand. Drew is rattled, Britt is caught in the act. Sunny pleads with Alexis, Emma, and Gio further. Their plan. Britt receives a warning. Portia has stern words for Jordan. Martin confides in Laura, Rocco is foiled. Alexis and Drew clash. Anna is in danger. Gio is the voice of reason. Alexis supports Danny, Sunny. Arranges a private meeting with Justine, Felicia, and Spinelli are relieved. Jocelyn receives a new assignment. Tracy has her work cut out for her. Marco catches Lucas off guard. Felicia takes on a new case. A familiar face lands in Port Charles. Sunny confers with Jason. Laura's mayoral campaign suffers a setback. Carly updates Valentine welcome to the General Hospital, Daily YAPP, for a quick, and by that, I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. We can't believe that Nina once again ratted out a friend to save her dimwit daughter from her own stupidity. First, it was poor pregnant Sasha during the custody trial. And now, it's poor pregnant Portia as Willow gets ready to go on trial for attempted murder. Granted, Nina doesn't know that Portia is pregnant, but we still can't believe she is trying to point suspicion at Portia to cause reasonable doubt during Willow's trial. In fact, our jaws fell to the floor when she told Sunny that she couldn't bring this information to Alexis or the authorities on her own because she was Portia's friend. Oh, really? Do friends throw each other under the bus like this? We don't think so. Ava is also Nina's friend, as well as Portia's friend, and Ava does know that Portia is pregnant. She won't be too happy with Nina if she learns what she did. This could also force Portia to admit she was with Isaiah that night, and he could be her baby daddy. Nina put Sasha in a similar position last May, and it sent her into labor right on the witness stand. And Nina is doing this for a selfish, ungrateful daughter who won't even say thank you to her mother. Nina, this girl is just not worth losing friendships over. Cut your losses and run when it comes to Willow. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full GH recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not. Seriously, do not. Forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs. In the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. General Hospital spoilers hint that Martin Gray may frame Drew Kane for altering Monica Quartermain's will, but will Veronica Ronnie Bard go along with it? When Martin pressured Ronnie to sell the Quartermain mansion to Drew, he mentioned that he'd kept his own hands clean. Martin threatened to pin the fraud entirely on Ronnie and spooked her with all that talk about a prison sentence. However, Martin might be tempted to frame someone else once Monica's original will is discovered. That will is indeed in a box that Tracy had delivered to Lulu Spencer's house, so this storyline is moving right along. If Martin blames Ronnie, she could hurl accusations at him and convince everyone else he was part of the scheme. There may not be firm evidence of Martin's manipulation, but Ronnie could still destroy his reputation and turn him into a town pariah. Martin might be better off blaming Drew instead, since everyone loathes him and would expect him to pull a stunt like this. Drew was cut out of the will completely, so Martin might make it seem like Drew retaliated using Ronnie as a pawn in his game. No one would ever believe Monica left the Quartermain mansion to Drew, so Martin might argue that Drew clearly got creative and duped Ronnie to get what he wanted. Martin could suggest that Drew's plan all along was to convince Ronnie to sell him the house once everyone believed it was hers. Perhaps Martin could even mention finding Ronnie's letter at Drew's place and act like all the puzzle pieces fit. Naturally, there could be some factors working against Martin if he points the finger at Drew and tries to set him up. Ronnie is clearly struggling with some guilt over this whole situation, so she might set the record straight whether Martin likes it or not. Martin will also face some suspicion as Drew's attorney and could be accused of helping him, so there'll be some hurdles to tackle if he tries to frame his client. Even so, Martin should be desperate once he gets backed into a corner. As a result, Martin may at least try to blame Drew and prevent his own downfall. That plan may not work, at least not for long, but it's kind of funny to think about both Drew and Willow Tate being framed for crimes. General Hospital spoilers say Martin will scramble once Monica's real will comes to light, to stay tuned for what he'll do after that news shakes things up. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Michael Corinthos and Willow Tate's reunion may be inevitable, and we're here to tell you the biggest reason why. Let's discuss the possibility that Willow and Michael could still be endgame. Willow and Michael had a happy marriage once upon a time, but it blew up in a big way. Michael and Willow's relationship has been totally trashed at this point, but that doesn't mean they'll stay apart forever. Any loyal soap viewer knows that couples tend to come back around sooner or later. It may take years for it to happen, but broken pairings can be repaired eventually. That's especially true when children are involved. Michael is determined to protect Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos from Willow at the moment, but that could change down the road. Things obviously look bleak for Willow right now since she's stuck at Pentonville. Willow insists she didn't shoot Drew and has been pointing the finger at Michael for framing her. However, even that isn't enough to close the door on Michael and Willow's romance permanently. We've seen other characters do far worse to each other over the years and still get back together in the end. As storylines get resolved and people grow, there are always going to be chances for new beginnings in Port Charles. That goes for Willow and Michael too, somewhere down the line. It may take a while for Michael and Willow to find their way back to each other, but we have faith that it'll ultimately play out. That brings us to the biggest reason why Willow and Michael's reunion may be inevitable: Caitlin McMullen and Rory Gibson's on-screen chemistry. Ever since Gibson debuted as a Michael recast, fans have praised his scenes with McMullen. Although Willow and Michael obviously tend to be fighting most of the time, there's no denying that they work well as scene partners. There's a spark that needs to be recognized and fully explored now that Gibson's playing Michael. The show has an opportunity to breathe new life into the Michael and Willow pairing, so plenty of viewers are holding out hope for their future. The chemistry still pops on screen even when Michael and Willow are clashing, so that can't be ignored. It would be a mistake for GH to waste it, so Willow and Michael may be destined for another round of their romance sooner or later. Plus, Michael and Willow just flat out look good together. McMullen herself posted evidence of that on a recent Instagram story from the Graceland fan event, which featured a great photo with Gibson. General Hospital spoilers say some romantic twists and turns are still ahead in PC, so we'll bring you updates on any major love life news. General Hospital spoilers hint that James West may go missing, so Nathan West's rescue could change everything. Let's talk about the trouble James may land in and how it could affect Nathan's storyline. Damian Spinelli has been struggling to let go of his role as James's main father figure. Spinelli loves James as if he were his own son and doesn't want him separated from the home he shares with his sisters. However, Nathan is back in the picture now and obviously wants to raise James. Although Nathan hasn't been too pushy about that yet, he's definitely hoping to tackle more parental duties and get to know James better. On November 5th, GH spoilers say Spinelli and Felicia Scorpio will be filled with relief. That could point to some sort of urgent family crisis before that relief comes. Nathan may get the opportunity to play the hero if James does what he does best and wanders off on his own. James has a habit of going missing, so that may happen once again and leave his family members frantic. This could be a situation where James simply seeks out Nathan for some father-son bonding time. Once James is found, we could imagine him justifying his vanishing act by insisting he just wanted to hang out with his dad. On the other hand, Nathan might get updates on James' disappearance and go looking for him instead. That could bring a James rescue and score Nathan some points with Spinelli. Regardless, this whole situation could leave Spinelli rethinking things a bit. Spinelli might see just how much Nathan and James need to make up for lost time, which could lead to James going to live with his dad sooner than expected. James could land in some danger down the road, depending on where Nathan's storyline goes from here. Britt Westbourne was initially on edge over the idea of Nathan and James connecting, so there must be a good reason why. General Hospital spoilers say Nathan's mystery story will come with more curveballs, so stay tuned for all the jaw-dropping news ahead. General Hospital spoilers update for Friday, October 31st reveals that Jen Sidwell will force a project shakeup, while Nina Reeves has a bad feeling. Jack Brennan will also deliver a proposal, so some big developments are coming up in Friday's episode. At Bobby's, Brennan will sit down with Lulu Spencer and wonder how she'd feel about Valentine Cassadine being transferred to a prison stateside. Brennan will propose this transfer and suggest Charlotte Cassadine could see her father more often, at least if Lulu gives the green light. Of course, Brennan will hope that by granting Valentine more visits with Charlotte, Valentine will be willing to surrender more Cesar Faison project info. As for Carly Spencer, she should be pleased that her manipulation worked when this transfer presumably moves forward. In the meantime, Tracy Quartermaine will have a conversation with Lucy Coe as they trade old stories about Alan Quartermaine. Over with Martin Gray, he'll land in a tight spot. Laura Collins will ask why on earth Martin would do something, so she may blast him for talking Veronica Ronnie Bard into selling the Quartermaine house to Drew Kane. However, Nina will worry about Drew's tactic. Drew believes Michael Corinthos' anger over this mansion sale will send him flying off the rails and prove he's capable of killing the congressman. Nina will have a bad feeling about all this and will feel confident that backlash is brewing if Drew chooses this route. As far as Nina's concerned, Drew will be playing with fire, and she may fear Willow Tate will somehow be the one to get burned. Next, Sonny Corinthos will have a tense discussion with Michael as well. Michael will be drawing some negative attention to himself from Sonny's perspective, so this may be about retaliating against Drew, or perhaps Michael's deepening fake Jacinda Bracken romance. GH spoilers say a setback will catch Drew off guard in Friday's show. Will that come after Monica Quartermaine's true will is discovered in that box at Lulu Spencer's house? Drew's plan to take over the Quartermaine mansion may come to a screeching halt once it's revealed that the house wasn't Ronnie's to sell. In Professor Henry Hank Dalton's office, Sidwell will insist he's promoting Britt Westbourne. Dalton will mistakenly assume he'll be working alongside Britt, but Sidwell will clarify that Dalton's going to report to her instead. General Hospital spoilers say Dalton obviously won't be happy about Sidwell's updates, but he'll have to get on board with the news or else. This week was the week that General Hospital's ickiest character jumped the proverbial shark into cartoon villainry, complete with a cane for Congressman Kane. All he needs is a mustache to twirl, and the transformation will be complete. All for the love of a house that the father he never knew gave to a woman who was never his mother. Thanks to Drew, the Quartermaines feared they would have to pack up and move. In fact, Drew was so ostentatious and giddy about his new purchase that we expected him to start maniacally laughing when he hobbled into the Q living room to brag and marvel at the fact that he was kicked out of the castle, and now he was going to own the whole thing. Drew didn't even know his purchase would be illegal, as Ronnie didn't really own the house because the will Alexis read had been altered. We know Ronnie is going to crack before she signs on the dotted line, but watching the Qs, thinking they lost their beloved house, thanks to Ronnie and Drew, was heartbreaking, as was Tracy's breakdown in Lulu's living room after a drunken night at the Brown Dog. Of course, the moment Jason knocked that cane out from under Drew Kane was without a doubt the best moment of this week, along with Tracy's hysterical laughter as a reaction. The cane needs to be a permanent part of Drew's existence, as it adds to the costume villain aura. As if throwing old ladies in jail and using little girls as leverage aren't enough, Drew now takes to threatening and bullying teenagers just because. Watching Laura take him to task and watching the look on Ronnie's face was glorious, as this was Ronnie before. Marty coerced her into selling the house to Drew. There really isn't too much lower this guy can go, and we don't know why General Hospital is choosing to write him this way. There is no humanity to the character at all, when at one time he was everyone's hero and beloved around town. Why take a character down a path like this for no apparent reason, and then just keep making him worse with each passing day? There's no doubt that Drew and Willow belong together because they are both completely awful people who didn't earn their gruesome twosome nickname for nothing. Both of them are just so ew, but at least Willow is nicer to people than Drew is. Drew chooses to be mean to everyone just because. We'd ask if he has something better to do, like go to his job in DC, except that the House of Representatives no longer actually works, so Drew is on an extended vacation. We really don't like that quirky schemer Marty turned to the dark side when he menacingly got in Ronnie's face and terrorized the poor woman, threatening to send an old lady to jail just like his congressional client. That's not the Marty we know and love. We liked it when he would bicker with Tracy in nail salons. We don't like the mean and vengeful Marty, who takes advantage of a woman's death to play a dirty trick on an entire family just because he has a beef with one member. We can't wait for the tongue-lashing he gets from Laura over this one. He just might get evicted and have to live with Drew in Drew's Dawn of Day house. Why did we think Nina would actually listen to Ava when her BFF told her to leave well enough alone and let Alexis take care of Willow's defense? After all, Nina got herself in a boatload of trouble when she decided to provide Willow with a fake alibi. But nope. First, Willow tried to pay off Jacinda to recant her statement about Michael being with her at the time of Drew's shooting. That didn't work out well because Jacinda went right to Michael and handed him the check. Then, Nina decided friendship means nothing, as she backed that big ol' bus right over pregnant Portia. Good going, Nina. We still love you, but cool it. Your daughter is so not worth it. Poor Portia is getting it from both ends this week. Not only did Nina throw her under the bus and make her a suspect in Drew's shooting, but Jordan told Curtis that Portia was pregnant, without Portia even confirming it. She saw what could have been pregnancy symptoms and knew she had to tell Curtis all about them. Even if Portia had confirmed her pregnancy to Jordan, it was so not Jordan's place to tell Curtis another woman's business about her body. We could tell that even Laura was a bit taken aback, knowing Jordan did this, but we appreciated her reminding Curtis that it was Portia's choice whether to terminate the pregnancy or not, because in New York, women still have that option. But we have a prediction now. Drew will learn about the paternity problems, bring Brad back to Port Charles, and set him up with his old GH job. Then, Brad will change the paternity test to make it look as if Isaiah is the father, because this would be typical Drew revenge against his former BFF. Are we about to get a Scooby-Doo-like adventure, complete with mad scientist in a lab? In this case, the scientists being Professor Dalton and Britt? And those meddling kids? Why, Gio, Emma, Danny, Rocco, and Charlotte, of course. We are not sure what to make of Britt agreeing to work for Sidwell out of nowhere, when she was in Scrubs getting puked on the day before. We feel like some scenes had to have been cut. We can already see how this will likely play out. When the kids try to break into Dalton's lab, they will find Britt. Somehow, Rocco will find himself in danger, and Britt will rescue him. Meanwhile, Danny will get caught, with Drew now feeling vindicated because his nephew and former stepson's son is a little hoodlum after all. Charlotte will end up in more trouble than the others, because her father is Valentine, and he seems to know all about whatever Dalton and Britt are working on. And Emma and Gio will be taken to task for being the adults in the room. Till next week, Scoopers, when those Scooby snacks will be handed out and glass will likely be flying at the Quartermain house. General Hospital recap for Friday, October 31st reveals that Michael Corinthos rattled Veronica Ronnie Bard while Tracy Quartermain found the will and Nina Reeves betrayed Portia Robinson. At the Metro Court, Drew Kane informed Nina that he was going to tell the cops that he remembered Michael shooting him, though it wasn't true. Nina insisted that would backfire and worried about Drew making things worse for Willow Tate. Over with Sonny Corinthos, he basically warned Michael to get a grip on his anger toward Willow, or else he could look guilty in court. Sonny was pleased when Michael kept his cool around Drew moments later, but Michael knew it'd be harder when it was time for Drew to sign the mansion papers. Later, Nina sat down with Sonny and revealed there was another suspect with motive that no one knew about. After Nina offered updates on Drew blackmailing Portia Robinson, she admitted she couldn't call attention to Portia as her friend. Sonny, on the other hand, could use this information, so Nina suggested pointing the finger at Portia could help both Michael and Willow. At Bobby's, Ronnie thought she recognized Jack Brennan as Joey, but he insisted she was mistaken, though he quipped that perhaps they knew each other in another life. That was G.H. Ryder's clever way of acknowledging McKenna and Slazak's former One Life to Live characters. After Brennan formally met Ronnie, Carly Spencer popped up and complained about Ronnie's mansion sale forcing Michael out of the house. Giovanni Gio Palmieri also heard the news that Ronnie was selling the Quartermain residence to Drew and tried to talk her out of it. At Lulu Spencer's place, Lucy Coe reminisced with Tracy before insisting that a house was just a house and the memories would live on in her heart. In Professor Henry Hank Dalton's office, Jen Sidwell said Dalton was being replaced due to lack of progress and revealed that he worked for Britt now. Britt was present for this conversation and got a pitch from Dalton after Sidwell took off. Dalton suggested they could cut Sidwell out of the equation and pursue a lucrative opportunity without him. Once Emma Scorpio Drake popped up, she was stunned to see the Britch and questioned why Britt was there with Dalton. Meanwhile, Martin Gray stopped by Laura's office and admitted he'd gone back to working for Drew. There was also some talk about Measure C before Martin exited. After Lulu came to Laura for advice regarding her kids, she headed to Bobby's and heard Brennan's proposition. Brennan said Valentine Cassadine wanted another visit with Charlotte Cassadine, but Lulu didn't want to keep disrupting her daughter's life with Switzerland trips. Brennan wondered if Lulu would feel differently if Valentine was transferred stateside, so Carly looked pleased over things going according to plan. Back with Laura, she got a visit from Sidwell, who hinted about working together to save Port Charles. At the Quartermain mansion, Michael made a heartfelt plea to Ronnie and offered to pay more than Drew for the house. Since Ronnie refused to sell to Michael, he knew this had to be about something other than the money. Ronnie seemed a bit shaken up as she struggled to keep a grip on her emotions. After Ronnie confessed there was indeed something else going on, she hinted about being in too deep and felt she must sell to Drew. However, Ronnie stopped short of admitting the details and turned her attention to Drew, as well as Martin, when they arrived. Drew signed the papers for the mansion and waited for Ronnie to put her signature down next. At Lulu's house again, she looked through more boxes and was stunned when she stumbled across Monica's real will. General Hospital spoilers say Tracy will plan to shut down Drew's mansion purchase soon enough, so stay tuned. This fan theory would change GH forever. It was certainly an explosive week on General Hospital after Ronnie sold the mansion to Drew, while Tracy discovered Monica's real will. And it may only get more explosive if this fan theory is true. The Friday, October 31st, cliffhanger left us all wondering if Tracy would make it to the mansion before Ronnie signs the house over to Drew. Of course, that signature would always be fraudulent, considering Martin changed Monica's will, so Ronnie inherited the house. If Drew winds up with the house after all, some GH fans have a theory that could finally put an end to his reign of terror and take the iconic Quartermain mansion with him. "I'd rather see the Quartermain mansion burn to the ground than be owned by Drew Kane," posted one liaison fan on X, sparking an interesting fan theory. Burn down the Quartermain mansion like the hospital did to rebuild new beautiful sets. Perhaps could also unearth skeletons buried beneath the grounds for a mystery. Having Drew Kane die in the fire would be an added bonus, one viewer suggested, while another added on, with Martin's body in the rubble. Burning down an iconic set isn't uncommon in the soap world. Days of Our Lives did it most recently when the Horton house burned down and had to be rebuilt, while The Young and the Restless burned down the Newman Ranch in 2012 and gave it a revamp in 2024. While the Q Mansion has had its redecorating over the years, many aspects have remained the same. They still have the foyer where the spiral staircase sits, the beloved crypt where so many beloved Qs rest, and the famous doorway where Jason rode his bike into the parlor. That being said, burning the whole house down with Drew inside would certainly make for great television and a bittersweet moment for longtime viewers, cheering on Drew's demise while mourning the most well-known Port Charles home. Plus, seeing Drew caught in flames would certainly be karma for the way he's treated Michael this last year. Do you think the Qs should start over with a new mansion? Let us know in the comments. Secrets, schemes, and shockers. Tracy seizes control, Britt's caught red-handed, and Sonny scrambles to save his son. It's all Monday in Port Charles. The General Hospital spoilers for Monday, November 3rd, 2025, reveal the score now that there's a twist with Monica's will. Tracy has the upper hand, while Drew is rattled. Meanwhile, Britt gets caught in the act. Is she not one of the bad guys after all? Is her Britch status in jeopardy? Martin messed with Monica's will, and he secured Ronnie for his revenge agenda against Tracy. On top of that, he forced Ronnie into selling the Q mansion to the dastardly mustache-twirling Drew. However, there's a twist. There could very well be a reprieve. Monica's true will and testament is in one of the boxes lined up all over Lulu's house. Tracy, or someone finding it, will be a game changer. More importantly, it'll give Tracy the upper hand, as the teasers suggest. And on top of that, it would explain why Drew Kane would suddenly be rattled. The fight for the Q mansion is hopefully one that Drew is not about to win. In other news, Britt is now Dalton's boss when it comes to those mysterious lab experiments. Sidwell made sure to lay down the New World Order with the professor. But how long will that last? On Monday, look for Britt to get caught in the act. What is she searching for, and who catches her? This could mean that Britt may have her own agenda, or she's also working for someone other than the bad guys. Meanwhile, Sunny pleads with Alexis. Christina informed her dad that Alexis is now representing Willow and plans to deflect guilt away from Willow and place it all on Michael. Sunny must try to prevent Alexis from going that route. Perhaps Sunny will tell Alexis he'll figure out a way to deal with Drew. The fact that Congressman Ketamine is using these restraining orders to lord over them is a problem, especially for Danny. However, Alexis knows that the best defense for Willow is giving the PCPD another likely suspect. And Michael is that guy. Will this conversation with Sunny change her mind? Can she come up with a different defense? Finally, Emma and Gio aren't just an adorable pair. They're working together to do something for the greater good, which involves investigating Professor Dalton and uncovering his activities in the lab. On Monday, Emma and Gio further their plan. How will they utilize the talents of the younger teen set? Things don't go as planned for several members of Port Charles next week. General Hospital spoilers for November 3 to 7th, 2025. Tease a week full of returns, takeovers, and setbacks across Port Charles. It's been an exciting time on GH, now that James Patrick Stewart has been back on the canvas. Despite being in Steinmauer, Valentine has had a lot of interactions with notable members of Port Charles, including Brennan, Carly, Atkins, and his daughter Charlotte. But when spoilers tease that a familiar face lands in Port Charles on Thursday, there's reason to believe it's Valentine. Carly will have an update for him on Friday, so odds are, it's either her or Brennan hiding him out. Considering Valentine seems to be a major part of Faison's mysterious final project, he's become a necessary player in this storyline. Maybe he's even the reason Anna is in danger midweek. Or more specifically, Drew is said to be rattled on Monday. The Port Charles villain is just about to get everything he wants. Revenge on the Quartermains, the family home, Willow indebted to him. So what could go wrong now? All signs lead to Tracy, who is said to get the upper hand at the start of the week. Somehow, it leads to Drew and Alexis clashing on Tuesday, while Tracy is left to pick up the pieces of Martin's betrayal on Thursday. Laura will end the week facing a setback to her mayoral campaign, and this could only mean one thing. Ezra Boyle is back. Elsewhere in Port Charles, Emma and Gio will further their plan to take down Dalton, while Felicia and Spinelli spend Wednesday relieved, presumably about Nathan's decision not to separate James from his soon-to-be stepfather. General Hospital spoilers for November 3 to 7th, 2025, tease major setbacks after this week's sneak attacks in Port Charles. Laura put Drew in his place after she caught him threatening Danny and Rocco. Ronnie decided he didn't deserve to own the mansion. Then she and Laura bonded over memories of Monica. Gio agreed to help Emma take down Dalton, and they enlisted the help of Danny, Rocco, and Charlotte. When Lulu found out Rocco had dinner with Britt and Obrecht behind her back, Nathan talked her down. Sidwell reminded Sunny he's still a threat. Curtis asked Jordan to get back together with him. Jason confronted Carly about her distance, and she revealed her plan to retaliate against Brennan. Jordan admitted to Curtis that Portia is pregnant, while Portia met Isaiah at the cabin. Anna informed Jason that Sidwell is involved in Faison's final project. In a conversation with Ronnie, Martin revealed he changed Monica's will, then forced Ronnie to sell the mansion to Drew. Just as Michael, Cease, Ned, and Olivia convinced Tracy to play nice with Ronnie, Ronnie announced to them that she's selling the house. Michael convinced Nina to hire Jacinda, but Nina offered to pay her to quit being Michael's alibi. The Quartermaines tried pushing back on Ronnie's decision to sell the house. Then they learned she sold it to Drew. Curtis confided in Laura about Portia's pregnancy, while Portia confided in Ava. Then when Curtis found Portia, he asked if she's pregnant. Lulu and Dante tried getting Rocco to be honest with them about his dinner with Britt, but Rocco didn't budge. Nathan and Britt discussed their parent troubles. Jason surprised Britt with a new car. Tracy went to drown her sorrows at the Brown Dog until Drew showed up and taunted her. That was when Jason appeared and knocked Drew's cane out from under him and forced him to leave. Later, Jason and Britt got a drink while Tracy and Lulu looked through her boxes, unbeknownst to them that Monica's real will was inside one. Cody asked Molly for legal advice regarding selling the house. Then the two almost kissed. Sonny reminded Ada Turner that he's just a concerned father. Portia admitted to Curtis that she's pregnant and wondered if getting back together was what was best for the baby. Dalton met Britt, who are both working with Sidwell. Later, Emma walked in on Britt and Dalton. Ronnie thought she recognized Brennan to be Joey. Nina informed Sonny that Portia could be a suspect in Drew's shooting. Gio begged Ronnie not to sell the house to Drew. Later, Ronnie almost admitted to Michael what was going on until Drew walked in to get the papers signed. After Tracy and Lucy reminisced and looked through boxes, Tracy found Monica's real will. General Hospital spoilers have Drew Kane Quartermaine looking smug because he thinks he is about to be the new owner of the Quartermaine mansion and is already planning to throw all the other Qs out. But I suspect he might get a swift kick coming from karma, and all his big plans may fall through. We're going to talk about how Drew might lose his chance to buy the mansion, and then we'll find out who Monica Quartermaine really left the Q Mansion to in her real actual will. So, right now, Ronnie Bard is being forced to sell the Quartermaine mansion to Drew because Martin Gray threatened her with prison if she doesn't do what he says. Ronnie does not want to sell to Drew, but that's what you get for conspiring with Martin. Really, Ronnie is like everybody else in Port Charles. She does not like Drew, and she knows that he is not a good person. Plus, other than Tracy Quartermaine, we've seen that Ronnie likes the Quartermaine family, and she does not want to betray them. Unfortunately, Martin is not leaving her any choice. Hot on the heels of the lawyer telling Ronnie she has to sell the mansion to his client, Drew showed up at the house, and he announced that Ronnie agreed to sell to him. And of course, everybody was upset. Tracy flipped out the most. She chewed Ronnie a new one and said she dishonored her sister, Monica's memories. Ronnie was of course flustered and said she didn't want to be involved in all the Quartermaine drama, so she's going to sell and leave Port Charles. And of course, she can't tell them that Martin's blackmailing her. So Ronnie has to make excuses and play along and then just try to get out of this. Here's what I suspect may happen this week. There are official GH spoilers saying Cody Bell gets some legal advice, possibly from Molly Lansing Davis. And by the end of the week, General Hospital spoilers say Drew has a big setback. So maybe Cody finds a way to stop Drew from getting the Q Mansion. Maybe he talks to Molly about some facet of inheritance law or something. We do know Cody is really close to Tracy, and he absolutely despises Drew. Ever since Cody found out Drew was sleeping with Nina Reeves while seducing Willow Tate away from Michael Corinthos, he has hated the guy. So, I think it'd be great if Cody found a way to shut down the creepy congressman. But even if Drew doesn't get messed up by Cody, it seems like something is going to fall apart based on the spoiler about a setback for Congressman Cutthroat. So, I just wonder if Drew is going to give Ronnie a big pile of cash for the mansion, literally millions of dollars. And she takes the money and runs. I mean, obviously, she's got to split it with Martin, but Ronnie's not going to stick around Port Charles since she doesn't want to get busted for fraud. So we'll see if Cody turns up some sort of way that Drew can't actually close on the house. Or maybe he buys it, and then the sale is canceled retroactively. Obviously, it's going to come out that Ronnie didn't really inherit the house, and that means she couldn't legally sell it to Drew. In the end, not only could he lose a pile of cash because of Martin's scheme, but Drew most certainly is not going to wind up with the Quartermaine estate in the long run. Plus, Tracy, Michael, and the others are going to rub it in Drew's face when it all blows up on him. And that would be just a delicious, delicious slap from karma. Eventually, we're going to find out who Monica really left the Q house to in her original will. Right now, we don't know what was really in that document though, because Martin altered it. All we know is that Monica left Ronnie the locket and nothing else because Martin spelled that out. So, let's get into who is going to actually end up with the Quartermaine mansion once the dust settles, because it most assuredly will not be Drew. Be sure to stick around till the end to hear the most shocking outcome from Monica's real will though. First of all, we know Tracy wanted Michael to have the house, but maybe instead it went to the person that Monica considers her one last living child. Maybe she left the house to Jason Morgan. Remember, Monica always wanted Jason to come back home and be part of the Q family again, and now that he finally has, maybe Monica decided to leave the house to Jason to ensure that he would stay. Plus, Alan Quartermaine bought the house, and he is Jason's bio dad. So I think Monica leaving it to Jason is possible, but it's not the soapiest outcome. So the second thing, Monica might have left the Q house equally to the grandkids. Maybe she left it in a trust with Jason as the executor until all of the grandkids come of age. Monica's grandkids are Danny Morgan, Scout Kane, Jake Weber, and Michael. So maybe they co-own it, and each of them gets a quarter of the house. But maybe Monica decided to go another route, and instead, she left the house to Ned Quartermaine and Olivia Falconeri as the next generation's matriarch and patriarch of the Quartermaine family, knowing that they would obviously take care of everybody. Monica might see them as the next generation Edward Quartermaine and Lila Quartermaine, so she might have left the mansion to them with the caveat that any Quartermaine who wants to live there is welcome, excluding Drew. Of course, there is no doubt Ned and Olivia would keep the Q mansion as a warm and loving home open to all the family if Monica had left it to them. And you know, if Olivia and Ned got the place, Olivia would hurry up and add that pizza oven she's been wanting for so long. And remember, stick around to the end, because that's when I'm going to give you the wildest and soapiest option. But one more before then. Consider whether Monica left the Q estate to Michael just like Tracy wanted. I mean, maybe she did. If you remember, Tracy was talking about how Michael was the apple of Monica's eye. So yeah, maybe she did what Tracy suggested and left it to AJ Quartermaine's only child. Tracy would be thrilled if the Q mansion went to Michael and his kids, because of course Tracy would still live there and get to boss everybody around. And obviously, she'd love for Michael to get it. But here's the thing, I really wanted to get to the most soapy and dramatic option. What if Monica actually left the house to Tracy? You know how much Monica loved to tell Tracy that Alan left the mansion to her. Monica rubbed it in Tracy's face all the time over the years. She tossed her out of the house more than once, so maybe Monica decided to undo some of that old animosity, and she left Tracy the mansion for as long as she lives, and then the ownership would revert to Michael, who is Monica's one and only biological grandchild once Tracy is gone. Honestly, that's what I would really like to see for Monica. To leave it to Tracy to honor that sisterhood that she and Monica grew into over the years, but more in these recent years. Tracy would be so touched, and Michael would still eventually get the estate in kind of a generational inheritance. This is the option I'm really hoping for. Tracy's discovery will cause a major setback for Drew. It's a happy Halloween in Port Charles after all. Just as Drew was forcing his way to owning the Quartermaine mansion, Tracy made a major discovery that will change everything on the October 31st, 2025 episode of General Hospital. When Lucy arrived at Lulu's house, she wound up actually bonding with Tracy as they reminisced about Alan, her parents, and the iconic Quartermaine mansion. They were sweet scenes between two GH legends, all while newcomers were wreaking havoc across Port Charles. While Drew was out on his taunting spree, first last night at the Brown Dog with Tracy, and then today at the Metro Court with Michael, Ronnie battled her guilt as both Carly and Gio confronted her about selling the house to Port Charles's most hated man. Finally, Michael begged Ronnie to reconsider, and she was just about to tell him everything. Martin's manipulation of changing the will, and then forcing her to sell to Drew. When Drew barged in, ready to sign the papers. But just as Ronnie was about to sign, Tracy was at Lulu's rummaging through boxes when she suddenly discovered a folder titled, The Last Will and Testament of Monica Quartermaine. General Hospital spoilers for November 3rd teased Tracy arriving in the nick of time to bust them all, while a clueless Drew winds up rattled. A new era of Michael Corinthos has begun. After tragedy, fire, and heartbreak, Rory Gibson's Michael is back in Port Charles. And he's not the same man who left. Back in January of 2025, General Hospital's Michael, played by Chad Duell at the time, was badly burned in an explosion at Sonny's apartment. It was decided that Michael would go away to a clinic in Germany to recover. Fast forward to May, and Michael came back with a vengeance in the form of Rory Gibson. And the intensity in Michael's eyes when he scooped up his son, Wiley, and took him out of the nurse's ball, back to the Quartermaine mansion, was evident. Michael has not been the same since. For 14 years, Chad Duell captivated General Hospital fans as Michael Corinthos, a role that earned him a Daytime Emmy Award in 2015 for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series. His award-winning performance came from one of Michael's most emotional storylines, the shocking revelation that his adoptive father, Sonny Corinthos, had killed his biological father, A.J. Quartermaine. Duell's powerful portrayal of heartbreak, anger, and betrayal cemented his place as one of daytime television's standout talents. From his first year on the show, Duell proved his range with a difficult and groundbreaking storyline in which Michael was sexually assaulted in prison while serving time for killing Claudia Zechara. Despite Michael's trauma and anger, Duell's youthful appearance often made his intensity even more striking. Before his exit, Michael was caught in another emotional storm when his wife Willow and his uncle Drew were revealed to be having an affair, a storyline still unfolding when Duell shocked viewers by announcing his departure from the soap. When Rory Gibson stepped into the role of Michael, it was clear from his first episode that his version would be unlike any before. Known to soap fans for his previous role as Noah Newman on The Young and the Restless, Gibson brought fresh intensity, quiet strength, and emotional precision to the recast. Now, Michael is a man transformed, a devoted father with sole custody of his children, determined to protect them at any cost. His clashes with Willow have revealed a ruthless side, as her ongoing and untreated mental health struggles push Michael to desperate measures. Meanwhile, both Michael and Willow have become prime suspects in Drew's shooting, setting the stage for a tense and unpredictable showdown. Despite being more than a decade younger than Chad Duell, Gibson's portrayal of Michael feels seasoned and grounded. His version of the character exudes confidence and purpose, a fully realized adult with both power and compassion. Few recasts win over audiences instantly, but Gibson managed to do just that. His performance captivated viewers from day one, proving he has both the presence and emotional depth to make the role entirely his own. Gibson's attention to detail and layered delivery have turned Michael into a commanding figure in Port Charles. Beneath his steely gaze lies the heart of a man who still values family, as shown when he honored his grandmother, Monica's final wishes, giving her never-before-seen sister, Ronnie, the Quartermaine mansion. With suspicions growing that Martin forged the will, Michael may soon reclaim his rightful place as heir to the Quartermaine estate. As the investigation into Drew's shooting unfolds, fans can expect fireworks, and Gibson's fierce, layered performance ensures every scene lands with power. Rory has redefined the character for a new era of GH fans. What do you think of Rory's take on the role? Do you like the new broody Michael, or do you miss the early version of Michael? Sound off in the comments below. Big moves were being made in the October 31st episode of General Hospital, but there still may be time to stop one of them. Tracy's visit from Lucy inspired her to make a decision. Nina clashed with Drew before offering Sonny a way to save Michael. Sidwell introduced Dalton to his new boss, Britt, and Ronnie was pressured to sign the Quartermaine mansion over to Drew. But a new discovery could change everything. Here's how everything shook out. Wishing Tracy a good morning, Lulu insisted that she had to find someplace else to put all the moving boxes clogging up her house. Lucy stopped by and, seeing all the clutter, offered to help with an estate sale. After Lulu had to run out, an irritated Tracy resisted Lucy's attempts to help find her a new place to live. Lucy urged her to stop dwelling on all the bad memories and focus on the good ones. She also offered to be someone with whom Tracy could share memories of the Quartermaines who had passed on, and wanted her to stop living in the grief. Gesturing to the boxes around them, Tracy lamented that this was all that was left of the family she'd lost. But Lucy argued that the house was just a house, and the memories were a part of her. As Lucy started going through one of the boxes, Tracy was initially annoyed, but soon softened and began recalling fond memories of Alan. Lucy suggested she could make new family memories in a new house, and Tracy reluctantly agreed to look at more properties, but asked for privacy right now so she could go through the boxes and figure out what to do with everything. Drew met Nina at the Metro Court, where she voiced her upset that Willow was still stuck in prison. He informed her that he was going to tell the police that Michael shot him, and she was stunned that he remembered what happened. But when he admitted that it wasn't true, she warned that no one would believe his memories magically returning at just the right time to save Willow. Drew declared that even if he didn't implicate Michael, he would find some way to save Willow, and Nina wouldn't be a part of it. She was fed up with his whole savior act, especially since he never seemed to actually come through for her daughter. "If you would have any hope of getting back into Willow's life," Drew hissed as he stood up to leave, "it will only happen if I get behind it too. So if I were you, I'd start showing me a whole lot more gratitude." Across the room, Michael was at a table with Sunny, who worried that Willow's lawyer would target Michael to create reasonable doubt for her client, and Michael was dismayed to learn the attorney representing Willow was Alexis. Sunny warned that she would garner sympathy for everything Willow had gone through and point out Michael's life of privilege and connection to his mobster father. Michael angrily brought up all the awful things Willow had done, and Sunny cautioned that if he talks with that kind of vehemence when Alexis puts him on the stand, it won't make him look good. Just then, Drew swung by their table to gloat about Ronnie selling him the Quartermain estate, and to say he hoped Michael would be there when he signed the papers. After he walked off, Sunny was impressed that Michael kept his cool, and Michael hoped he could maintain it when he actually witnessed the signing. Nina stopped Sunny on the way out of the restaurant to propose a way they could save both Willow and Michael. She revealed that Portia had helped her to set Drew up with the ketamine and the escort because the congressman was blackmailing her about something. She complained that Portia had a strong motive to shoot Drew, but the cops weren't even looking at her, and Sunny agreed that more suspects would create more doubt. "I can't use this information myself because Portia and I are friends," she suggested. "But you could." At Bobby's, Emma flirted with Gio a bit before confiding that she had an opportunity coming up to take down Dalton. He wanted to help run interference, but Emma preferred to go alone in case she needed to turn on the charm with the professor. She also complained that the key she'd stolen would no longer work because Dalton changed the locks. Gio urged her to be safe, and she gave him a quick kiss before heading out. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you!